Is there such a thing as a dialed-back version of a flagship device? Well, that's exactly the kind of question that HTC wants to address, with a more affordable and thus more accessible version of their flagship U11. It's Joshua Vergara, what's going on everybody? And this is the HTC U11 Life, and I've been using it for the last few days. Quick disclosure, I have had the U11 Life for a little bit now, and though I was initially prepared to give a more casual take on what is basically a phone that tries to emulate its flagship original, it slowly but surely became obvious that I needed to give it a closer look, and that's because the HTC U11 Life started to succeed. Now, two versions of the HTC U11 Life are going to be available in different parts of the world. The original version that you're seeing in my footage is the version that has HTC software and editions, but there is going to be a global edition that runs Android One. That version, of course, will not use all of the different software additions from HTC and instead has a very lean version of stock Android. It is also going to be made to a much wider audience, while the HTC U11 Life that I am using will be available in the US and will be on T-Mobile at some point moving forward. Now, some parts of the U11 Life are obvious downgrades from the original. The shrunken down size of the phone is mostly due to a smaller screen, 5.2 inches in its size with full HD resolution. I actually quite like the blue color of this phone, even if it is really reflective and does get really smudgy. The size is really nice though due to that screen, as one-handed usage has been really easy on this phone. And that also helps with the edge sense, which is of course the feature from the U11 that now makes it onto the U11 Life. It is one of those flagship features that still makes it on the mid-range version, and we do quite like having it. You can do a quick squeeze in order to do one function, and then squeeze and hold in order to trigger yet another function. And even then, HTC is trying to further the functionality by adding in a beta program in which you can use the squeezes inside of particular applications. I've tried to use it in a few different situations with spotty results. In most cases, the original global trigger is what goes off instead of the in-app trigger. But we will continue testing this moving forward, especially since users can actually program specific taps in pretty much any application for squeezing or holding. The rest of the bits and pieces are all dialed back in the expected form. The Snapdragon 630 powers the device, and so far it has been able to keep up with my daily usage, and it's backed up by 3GB of RAM and only 32GB of onboard storage, even though you do have an SD card slot for expandability. I've already played quite a few games on this phone like Shadow of War, and I haven't noticed the phone struggle to keep up at all. The performance is actually noticeably smooth, which is a feather in the cap of the phone's specifications and optimization. So far, it doesn't really feel like you're sacrificing too much by picking the U11 Life. And the same goes for battery life, with a 2600 mAh battery that is found in the U11 Life. With my kind of usage that includes a lot of media, some gaming, and plenty of audio playing, I was able to get 4 hours of screen on time, which I thought was pretty impressive for a battery size like this, and also for the kind of phone that I was using. In fact, it's part of what made me want to continue testing the phone to make sure that this experience is definitely the norm. Now, audio has always been a focus in one way or another for HTC, and the U11 Life tries to soften the blow of putting away the headphone jack by including a pair of USB-C earbuds. These Usonic compatible earbuds can be powered by the phone for active noise cancelling, and this is all found inside of the settings and can be triggered in the notification shade. It will try to cater the earbuds for a better profile for noise cancelling, and for the most part, I've had a good time with these earbuds. Music and YouTube in particular have been a blast to enjoy due to this sound experience. But there is something that we can't really let slide. And while it's nice that these HTC earphones are included in the box, there is no adapter in the box for using your own headphones. Instead of putting one in the box, users will have to buy an adapter separately for an extra cost. We felt the need to really mention what could be a contentious choice by HTC. Now, there's another place where HTC wanted to continue the high-end experience as much as possible, and it continues in the cameras. HTC put 16 megapixel cameras on both sides of this phone so that you would actually have some pretty high-quality selfies, and so far that seems to be the case. The rear camera is different from the 12 megapixel shooter of the original U11, and both of these 16 megapixel cameras move up to an aperture of f2.4. Personally, I have not spent enough time with the original HTC U11, which is the reason why I want to give the camera a little bit more time in terms of testing. I'm going to be getting my hands on a U11 so that I can see how the quality changes from the original flagship to this more affordable Life edition. And finally, there is the software, which in my case involves HTC Sense. Now, some people might not like HTC's take on Android, but it's certainly less in your face than plenty of other iterations. And you'll get even less of that with the Android One edition, which uses a very stripped down version of Android that is made to make the phone even more affordable. HTC Sense Feed returns as well, where social media posts can be accumulated in a grid format for easy viewing. Aside from that, a number of features that you may be familiar with from other HTC devices returns here, and we'll get into those more in our full review. But the main addition that I want to mention here is HTC Alexa. Amazon Alexa makes it onto the U11 Life as well, so that you have more than one voice assistant available with this phone. As an avid Google Assistant user, I'm still getting a further feel for Alexa as a potential daily voice assistant, and it will be taken into consideration for our full review. I'll try to use Alexa more than Google Assistant and see if it actually provides a worthy replacement. But nonetheless, it is good to have a choice between two of the major assistants available now. So for all that HTC is trying to do with this device, the hope is that the U11 experience can be had for less money, and that of course is going to hinge on the price. And as we mentioned before, different versions of the U11 Life will be available with different types of software, and in almost all cases the phone will sell for $349, which is a pretty aggressive price for a phone that so far has been succeeding in being a reliable version of a flagship phone that doesn't sacrifice too much. In the few days that I've used this phone as my daily driver, I've been a bit surprised at how easily it has handled my everyday tasks and usage. It would be easy to just dismiss a lesser version of a flagship phone, but real-world experience with the U11 Life has me thinking a little bit harder. Stay tuned for my full review and let us know what you think of the U11 Life and indeed the other version of the U11 that is not going to be making it to more markets, but is still a new version of the U11 flagship. We'll see you all in the comments down below, and don't forget to give us some likes on these videos because we love to see those thumbs up, and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already because we are your source for all things Android.